Hi, I'm Richard, and in today's tutorial we're going to start writing a computer game. So let's get started. Hello and thanks for watching, and today we're going to be looking at creating a game, a very simple game, a game that I call a 2.5D style game. For those of you that don't know what 2.5D is, it was, if you like, sort of the first attempts to pretend an arcade game or a game was 3D by creating diagonally shaped images and sort of moving them from top right to bottom left or whatever in a diagonal fashion, giving the impression that it was a 3D game, and these became very, very popular. Still are popular. You think of games like League of Legends. Obviously, they are now 3D, but they would have been the 2.5D of their time. We're gonna do this with one rule, and that is that we're not going to do any modelling at all. We're going to do everything in Unity, not in Blender. We're going to not do anything in Blender, and we're going to get all of our textures and assets that we need from the asset store. So I don't think we're going to need that many just to get us started. I think we're just going to need a very few simple textures. So let's think about how we're going to do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a tile that's going to move from top right to bottom left, and it's going to, when it gets to a certain distance out of the camera, it's going to move back to the top again. So effectively, from a camera perspective, it looks like it's a never-ending tunnel. If that doesn't make sense yet, let's just get started, and it'll all become clear. So let's create ourselves a quad, and we will make this quad annoy. See, this annoys me. You can't see it when you get started. We're going to make this. Let's flip this quad on the x-axis. There we go. This is going to be the floor. Okay, so that's obviously 90 degrees, and then we'll make that the floor. Excuse me. Hello, floor. F2 floor, and we'll make this. We just need to think about this right now. We'll make this 6 long. Now I need to know which way is 6. So 6 is the x-axis now, so that's 6 by 4 wide, I think. So that's the z-axis, 4 wide. Nope, it must be the y-axis. That's 1, and that should be 4. Okay, so that's 6 by 4. And what we'll do there, so that's the floor. And then what we will then do is we will, I'll just Control D that, just reset the values on it. And then we will we're going to need to flip. Well, we've got two choices here, I suppose. We could put it over in the. Yeah, I'm tempted to do that. I'm tempted to move this over here, just into position, get a rough idea of where it needs to be. I'm just sort of guessing here a bit. Is that about right? Yeah. So we're looking here at, I think. Oh, that surprises me. Like that. So is that going to be 2.5? That makes no sense to me. Why is that 2.5? Well, let's just quickly make this on the x-axis 6. That might help us to understand where this was positioned. Yes, so that's going to be positioned at minus 0.5. I would not have expected that. This might change in a minute when I scale the other one. And on the y-axis is going to be 4, isn't it? 4. No, not the z. I did that last time, didn't I? On the y-axis 4. Okay, now we're going to move it up. Like so. So I'm guessing that looks like very much like a 3, doesn't it? Although there is a gap. Isn't there? Have we definitely got this as 6 by 4? 6 by 4. Oh, look. Let's reset this. Look at that. That's no. Let's just set that to 0, 0, 0. That's why we're getting these weird numbers. Apologies. I know you'll be screaming at the screen going, Richard, what are you doing, you fool? Okay, let's pull that in there. And there like that. And now we're talking, so that's 0, 2, 2. That's going to be it, isn't it? 6 by 4. So we've got ourselves and we'll call that wall. Wall. Alrighty. So now let's get on with creating some textures for these. So let's, if you haven't done this before, you can click on Window here, click on Asset Store. In fact, what I might just do is I might just close you down, because it'll probably come out in a window like this. It'll come out in its own window, like so. So I'll just show you from the top. So just a window. What's it called? Asset Store. Oh, in my case, it has actually loaded up in a tab. But what you can do is, if it hasn't loaded up in a tab, you can just grab this here and just pull it where you want it to go. I'd like to put it in the same view as the scene view. So we're going to need some textures. So let's have a little think about what we're going to do for textures. In fact, for now, actually, I might just bring this down into the game view so that we can see what they look like. And we'll do a search. If we just go to textures down here and then sci-fi and click on free only. Obviously, we're not going to be paying for anything today. I think I saw a very good pack here from this chap, Luca Eberhardt. So let's just click on that. Free sci-fi ones here. I suspect I've probably already downloaded them. So you'll see download. So click on download and then click on import, and we'll bring them all in. Let's bring them all in. Import. Okay, I'm going to have a little sip of my tea while that's going on. Okay, and we've now seen our assets folder here. We've got our art skills store. I'm liking that. And we can have a little play around. So let's create a couple of text. Let's create some a couple of materials. I'll move these into some folders in a minute. So let's create a material. And we'll call this floor, and we'll just drag that into the floor like that. And then if we click on, if we click on here and lock it by clicking this little lock icon here, now what we can do is we can go into the free sci-fi here and we can just start dragging these into the albedo. Now obviously they're much too big, but we can get an idea of what they're going to look like. So we'll just keep going with these and just see which one we like the look of. I thought actually, in fact, even here it might be a bit better if we look here. I like this little blue one here for the floor. So what would that be? Let's see if we can find it here. Is there a way of making this bigger? I think there is, isn't there? If we let's just pull that across, and if I just do that, there we go. We can start to see them. I love Unity in so many ways. So that's that one there, isn't it? So let's just drag that into the albedo. There. Now you can see obviously it's stretched, and that's because we need to give it some tiling, and I'm going to get this around the wrong way. Let's try 6x4. No, we've got it. Nailed it. See there? So I just set the tiling to 6x4 there. There are no normals or anything for this. Bit of a nuisance, but there we go. Okay, I'm very happy with that. So now let's create go back to here, and we'll create another material. Guess what we're going to call it? We're going to call it wall. That's right. And we'll need to unlock there. Click on wall, and then click on this lock here. This lock will catch you out if you don't remember it's switched on. So what have we got in the way of walls here, or are they? Will we ever know? Let's have a look here. So we've got wall 1, 2, 3. I like that one. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, and we're going to have to drag the wall into the wall file there. Yes, I like the look of that. Do I? Well, guys, we're only doing this for a prototype, aren't we? I like that one. Let's go with that. Let's go with that, and I might even, because it's quite large, I might try something, just see if this works. 3x2. Or yeah, you see what would be perfect. Let's just do 3x1. Slightly stretched too much, isn't it? I'm not going to get away with that. That's a shame. What about 2x1? Should we try it? It's not too bad, is it? Okay, good. So we've got ourselves a what do you call that? A floor plate, and so we'll just hide that away for now, and then we can go back to game here. So we don't get distracted. What we'll do as well is we'll put this into an empty. So we'll create an empty. We'll call this what should we call this? Section, and then we'll drag make sure that's again unlock. Make sure this is positions reset, and then all being equal, that should be 0, 2, 2, and that's 0, 0, 0. So we'll grab those two in there. This gives us one other advantage, is that because the section here, the Z-axis is now still pointing the right way. I say that, but Z is pointing that way. So we're not... Okay, so we might need to use real-world translations. So let's go on to that and do that very thing now. So we've got ourselves a section. Now what we need to start moving them along. One really cool thing you can do, by the way, if we just keep that in the middle there now, I click on the camera and do game object align with view, so we can start tweaking where it's going. So game object align with view, something like I'm thinking even more of an angle, maybe like that. Game object align with view. Yeah, something like that. It's going to be scrolling from sort of, what am I saying, top right to bottom left. And yeah, it's not always straightforward. I've gone for 4x3, by the way, on the display here. I think that worked because, again, that's the retro arcade style orientation. What's what I'm looking for? Not orientation. What's the word I'm looking for? Ratio. Ratio is the word I'm looking for. It's been a long day. Right. Let's create a script that can take these in and create a whole load of them. So what we'll do here is we'll say create empty. Create. No, I'm very sorry. Let's try that again. Down here, isn't it? Create C# script. And what should we call this? We'll call this panel or section movement. And we'll double click it and get mono develop up. Okay, so this is loaded up. So what we're going to need in here is to say, well, what are we going to be moving along? So that's a public game object. We could probably do public transform. For now, let's do public game object section object, and we'll have a public int number of sections. Now, there's one thing that we could do. I'm going to do it for now. We're going to say public float section size. Okay, and that'll become clear in a minute, because what I could actually do is calculate this section size here. It's probably the right thing to do if we change the sections, then we don't want to have to keep trying to work out what this is. But for now, I think I'm pretty sure that's going to be 6, isn't it? So let's just say equals 6. And then we'll say here number of sections equals 10, something like that we're going to create. Alright, we'll just make that 6f. Okay, now down here, and what we're going to need is an array, public, no, this will be private game object array sections. Okay, and then we down in the start option here we say sections equals new game object num sections. Okay, so how are we doing so far? We're doing pretty good. And what we will then, I'm just trying to work out whether to go back to whether to go back to Unity yet or not. I think we can just crack on here. So let's say for brackets int I equals 0 semicolon. I is less than num sections I plus plus. I wonder how many times I have typed that little for loop in my career. Probably a lot. Not so much in gaming, but certainly in a lot in Java. Okay, I'm sure I'll be doing it a couple more times today. So we'll say sections I equals instantiate section object. We'll say that it's going to be something along the lines of new vector 3 brackets 0, 0, z no, excuse me, I times section size. Gosh, come on, Richard, you could do this. Section size. Alright, so what we're saying here is on the z-axis it's going to be 6, 12, 18, 24 and so on, because we're here. So obviously on the first one it will be 0 actually. So the first place it will be 0, 0, 0, then 0, 0, 6, then 0, 0, 12, and 0, and so on, all the way up to 60, isn't it? Okay, it doesn't like that because I need another bracket, and I think I need to say quaternion dot identity. No, I'm actually going to do. I'm going to say section dot trans sections. Yeah, I. No, section object. Help me, Lord. Help me. Section object dot transform dot rotation. So we're going to keep not the rotation of this object, but the rotation of the section object itself. Okay, that looks reasonable to me. Let's give that a go. Okay, so we're back in Unity and it's got here, cannot implicitly convert that. Are you missing a cast? And yes, we are missing a cast. Let's go over here. This instantiate at the very end, we just say as game object. And now is it happy? Yes, it is. And we're going to need a game object here. We'll just create an empty and we'll call it, no, drag it out. And we'll call this a game manager or something like that. Game manager. And let's just have a quick tidy up. Let's create a prefabs folder. And we'll drag our section into that. Like so. And then we can delete it from here. We're going to have a scripts folder. Let's create that. and we'll drag our, can I just do that? Glorious. And shall we have a materials folder? Shall we, or should we just copy that into the prefabs? Well, let's just... I'm never quite sure. Do you keep the materials in a separate folder? I guess it's a matter of taste, but you've got to stick with it, haven't you? I mean, I don't like the fact that I'm using this as a separate folder, but that keeps things honest in knowing where I've got stuff from. So let's just have a materials folder as well. All right, we'll just be happy that we've got things in clearly named folders. Right, so we've got ourselves a game manager, and in our scripts folder now we need to drag our section manager in, or section, what's it called? Section movement. Okay, so we've got our section size, but what we haven't got is a game object here, so let's just lock that so I don't mess it up, and go to prefabs and pull the section in like so into the section object, and we'll unlock it now while we're at it, and let's give it a quick look. Okay, we have an issue, and the issue is, what is the issue? Yes, I know what the issue is. It's because we need to face that way, don't we? We need to yeah. Okay, so we're gonna have to rotate these guys. I thought. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, to keep things honest, because I do want the Z axis to be going that direction. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut this down, and I'm gonna bring this section back in like so. And then I will click on both of them, and if it's I just click on that. So this is let's do the floor first, and we'll rotate it on the Z-axis. That's it. So we'll rotate that 90. Look, and we'll do the same with this. Except this now it's the Y-axis. So this needs to rotate on the Y. No, the wall. On the Y, we need to rotate that. Minus 90, you can see that, can't you? Minus 90. Minus 90. I know it doesn't look correct on the screen right now. That's okay. And then we just need to position it again, about there, and then we can just work out the numbers at the end, so we can see that it's going to be minus 2 to 0. Okay, right now if we just say, let's go to the main camera, and then say game object align with view. Why have you done that? Just controls that game object align with view. I'm sorry, not move to view, align with view. There we go. Right, okay. So now I think let's just quickly apply that and delete it. And now I'm hoping this will work a bit better. Please work. There we go. Okay, you can see it's gone off into the distance. Oh well. What we can very quickly, what we'll do is if I just drag this into position, zoom in a bit. Clearly it needs to zoom in a bit. Let's just try and get these angles roughly right. We can always tweak this later. And let's try that. Game object. No, click on main camera, and then game object align with view. Okay, I'm just going to angle it up a bit. Game object align with view. Just angle down a touch. Game object align with view. I'm not going to do this too much there. That's pretty reasonable for now. Okay, now the one thing that's going to go wrong, look at these horrible numbers. One thing that's going to go wrong, as soon as I stop this, that camera's going to reset. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here and do copy component. Then I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to do paste component values. Okay, and now when I start her up, lovely, we can see some our panels there. And luckily we can't see the beginning or end panel, so it looks like it's a never-ending. Well, it could be never-ending. It's not moving at the moment, so let's do that next. Let's spin back over to our C# script here. Hello. Apologies. Bit weird. That disappeared. I probably clicked on the X there, didn't I? Just make sure I'm recording again. Yes, I am. Right, so we're gonna have a speed now, aren't we? So let's do that. Public float section movement movements. Just say speed, shall we? Equals, and we need to get this quite low for now. You'll see why in a second. 0.25f, something like that. And in the update statement, we can very simply say for int I equals 0. Guess what? I is less than num sections. I++. I wonder if there's a shortcut key for that. Bet there is. And then we're going to say sections I dot transform dot translate brackets vector 3 forward times time dot delta time. That keeps it honest per frame. If you don't know what that means, plenty of tutorials on that. And times speed. Right? Okay. So that means it's going to move forward depending on the frame rate and speed. So if I didn't do that, it would move forward 1 unit a second. Okay, regardless of how many frames per second there were. The problem, if you didn't do that, then you would it divides the number of frames second by number of frames, so you get a nice theoretically smooth movement. Okay, times speed, and that will therefore this will be the factor, if you like, of 0.25. So it quarters the speed of it. Crikey, should we get excited? Right, so that's going to do that. But I hope that you'll see that there's going to be something else we need to fix. So let's quickly run this now. Okay, one thing is it's going the wrong way in my opinion. It's going the wrong way. Okay, that's just a by the by. I guess I'm going to have to live with that now. Times minus speed. Okay, and then we'll try that again. There is no vector 3 dot backwards, I don't think. Come on, where you go? Okay, there we go. That speed's much too low, isn't it? Where's my game object? Game manager. So let's try 0.5. Oh, that's very slow. Let's try 1. Yeah, 1 is actually quite reasonable, isn't it? Okay. Okay, good. 1 it is. But pretty soon, so of course as soon as I stop it, it runs out. One thing I would like to do as well, just so we're clear, when we create these sections, let's just make sure we say sections I is a game object. Name, there we go, equals section dash plus I. Okay, and what that'll do, well, I'll show you now, just make it a bit easier for us to identify which section's which. You can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, that will be useful, I think, identifying any issues. Now this is nice, but pretty soon, if it's kind of, I might just whack the speed up just to show you. Guess what? We run out. Yeah, there it goes. Now we want this to be a never-ending panel. So what we'll have to do is say here, if hang on. So here's a good example of where we could do with just knowing whether it's going down or up. So I'll just quickly press play, and then just zoom out a bit. Click on this one, and just check its z-axis. You can see it's minus. Here we go. -6, -7, -8. So let's just say, let's try with -6. If brackets sections I no yes, excuse me. So we'll need to say if brackets sections I dot transform dot z position, excuse me, dot z is less than -6, then we need to do something. Okay, this is a little bit scary, but what we're going to do is we're going to say go through all of the sections, find the one with the highest z value, and then put ourselves there +6. Right, so obviously, because if we put ourselves in that same z value, you'd overlap it. So you're going to say, right, I'm going to go to this one plus that distance. Let's give it a go. So if sections, then we'll say, it's kind of weird this, so we're going to have for int j equals 0, j is less than number of sections, j plus plus, and then we need to have something like a max z here, don't we? Float max z equals 0. Let's just say 0 equals 0. I'm expecting that to, and then we'll say if brackets sections j dot transform dot position dot z is greater than max z, and then we say max z equals I probably should have stored this in a variable. I'm doing it twice, but not to worry. Okay, and then so that's going to loop through, and then that's it. So it's looped all the way through, and then we say sections I. Oh, this is nasty. This is nice because what you can't do is set a specific z value. So I'm going to have to say sections I dot transform dot position equals new vector 3. which is annoying. And then we're going to have to do .x.y. So that's control of it, .x, comma, same again, .y, and comma, max z. Plus, oh my goodness, section size. Okay, that's a nasty. What is it? I might just zoom out a touch so you can see this maybe. Okay, so we're saying what we're doing is we're looping through. We're finding the, if you like, the last section, and we're getting its z value. And then we're saying, okay, we've gone through them. We've got the last section, which is the max z, and we're saying, well, the section that we're using at the minute, we're going to move it all the way to the end and a little bit more, plus this section size. Who knows if that's going to work? Let's give it a go. Is it got any errors? There's no errors. That's a promising start. So here we go. It's doing it, and this one here I'm looking at. So let's keep an eye on its z value, and it's moved it. Did you see that? Let's try this one. This one should do the same. Come on, baby. There we go. It's moved it. And now, from a viewing perspective on our screen here, let's just maximize on play. We'll just watch this now. Yeah, that texture's not quite right. In fact, that annoys me as well. I would have liked those textures to be the other way round, but you can't easily rotate them unless I go into a graphics editor. And there we go. Now, to me, there's a slight issue there. I just noticed. Can you? Well, maybe that's no. I don't think that's the. I don't think that's the joins. I think it's just having some weirdness going on there. Is that me or is that? No, I don't know what's going on with those textures. But basically, this is moving along. And you would, if you were to sit here for the rest of time, assuming you didn't get a power cut, that would look like it was a never-ending tunnel, which is exactly what we're after. One thing I'd like to say, you notice that I've done this here, this check before I did the move of any of the panels. Now, if you do this the other way round, and this caught me out, and I couldn't work out why, because I did do it the other way round. Occasionally, you'll get a bit of a gap, and the reason for that is that you may be moving some of them and then doing the check afterwards, which means some of them may have been moved already, so you'll get that tiny gap, the sort of the distance of a frame's gap between them. So if you do this first, that seems to work, as you can see there. So just beware. Put this afterwards. Now I hope that makes sense. So with that said, we've got ourselves a never-ending panel. Let's create a little spaceship that can move around it. So again, we're not going to be creating anything. We're going to be going to the asset store. Yes, we are. Slowly but surely. And we'll do spaceship. Press enter. It's obviously got to be free. Now, last time I used this one. I'm just going to have a quick peek. This is really cool. This is a great little spaceship. Maybe touch over too many polys. It's not. But again, it's very low. In fact, you click on it, you can see it's not going to break the bank with the polys. But for a very small object that we're going to see, it's pretty strong. I'm just going to have a quick look before I commit to that. The reason I don't want to commit to this one is because we're going to be negotiating walls and jumping around, and these bits here may make it difficult for the user to sort of navigate these bits. I mean, we can work on the colliders in a minute, but okay. So, is there anything a bit more boxy? Well, how about this one? Well, it's certainly. Should we give it a go? Should we give it this 1074 triangle? So it's not very big. This is interesting. Is it 1074? Oh, it's two different ones, is there? I see. There's that one and that one. Okay. Well, we'll be using this one, I think. I don't love it. I prefer this guy. But he's just a bit weirdly shaped for a game. This is the trouble. You can prevaricate. Let's have a quick look at this one. Because it's got a lot of ratings. That is very cool, isn't it? How many polys is it? Who knows? It looks like a few. Just 1,310. There we go. I'm going with it, guys. I'm going with it. So I'm going to click download. Let that download. I was going to pause, but it's too quick. Okay. It's been a bit naughty. It hasn't put itself in a folder. Okay, so we'll just import that. That's a bit annoying. I don't think... Click on import here, and that will import them all. You can see that, yeah, so it's actually... if we go to materials now, it's... Yeah, we've got our sci-fi ship here. So if we now go to where is it? Meshes? Sci-fi fighter, that'll be the one. So let's just drag that in. Okay, it's big. It's cool looking though, isn't it? It is cool looking. We're going to need to do a couple of things. We're going to just have to set that to reset it. Sorry, excuse me there. I had to have a bit of a cough. So let's bring this back up and just click on here. I'm pretty sure we're going to need to say, well, this is huge. So let's just actually turn off maximise on play. Click pause and then bring it back. Let's scale this thing down. Let's try 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. Where did you go? Let's just move you around a bit so we can find you. There you are. You're around the wrong way. So we'll flip you 90. 180, and we're obviously still too big. 0.1, still too big. 0.05. Yeah, that's slightly annoying. That looks about right. Yeah, that looks about right to me. Okay, so we're in good shape there. Let's just maximise on play again. Let's pause that, click maximise on play and unpause it. Yeah, that's pretty big, isn't it? That's pretty big. It's possibly a bit busy considering the rest of the textures and what have you, but it looks pretty cool. And we can now, if we just spin to top view, how are we doing? Yeah, we're doing okay. So we just actually, what I might do is while it's playing, spin to top view. Oh, isn't that annoying that I didn't set that? 0.05, 0.05. Okay, do that. Okay, and also position it. That frustrates me in many ways. I thought I'd turn off maximise on play, but I obviously didn't. Bring it back, and then bring it up. Let's just try and get a rough position, and again we needed that as 180, didn't we? 180, and then we'll just set that to 3, shall we? 3 and 9, just so it's in some sort of position. Then we'll just copy that component now before we forget. Copy component, and then stop it, and then paste component values. And I think now, for now, I'm going to click. So interestingly, there's no apply option. So let's bring in prefabs here and just drag that in there. Okay, now let's just click apply. Okay, so we've got ourselves a prefab there. The final thing I want to do before I start moving around, if we're going to do this game and it's going to keep moving around like that, then this shadow is not. We're going to have a shadow that points straight down, so we know exactly where we are, and a shadow that points into the wall as well. So that's going to look a bit weird to start with, but I think that's the only way you're going to be able to navigate this successfully. So if I now get our directional light, click on here, and what I need to do is I basically need to reset this and then set it, I think it's a -90, now all the way around 90, so it's pointing straight down. Alright, now that's a good start. You can see now the shadow is directly underneath it, and what I will now, so let's do this, let's just quickly I don't need to copy, I'll just do that and then just do reset 90. Okay, so it's pointing straight down, and what I'd like to do as well is just copy that light. This is going to confuse you somewhat. I'm going to reset it. That's funny enough. I think that's exactly where I want the light to be. So let's just try that. It's just pointing inwards. Let's just have a look at it on the screen here. No, it's. This is the weirdest thing. The directional light here is correct. If I just do something like disable it. Okay, help me. What am I doing? So it's Control Z. Let's just move that in, and we're going to flip it on the y-axis. That way or that way? It's whatever I do is not showing that wall up, is it? Now I think the way to fix this is just by picking a colour. Nope. Okay. Let's zoom in and find out why that isn't working. So we need to move it. Gotta love this, haven't you? So let's do that and just grab it and move it over here. Oh, that scales it, excuse me. Move it. There we go. I like to move it. There we go. Then we just drag that. So I'm pointing that as I think. Let's click on that. Which one? That one? That one? Help me. Help me. Maybe it's because it's too low. No. Well, I think it's pointing straight at that. Let's do minus 90. Scale needs to be 111. But yet. Okay, let's just copy those values. Copy component. And stop it. And then paste values. Okay, so this is just a really annoying thing. If I just change the spot, everything will be good again. But the spot's not really what I'm after. I don't think spot's going to cut it either, because yeah, it's not really what I'm after. I'm just trying to position it so I can see it, but at the moment it's not even doing that. Why aren't you doing that? There we go. So there is some like there. So let's just try doing that and then changing it back to directional again. Right, I don't see. This is I lose it a bit here. What is going on? Why is it doing this? And as soon as I sort of change the light, it goes back to normal. It's as if I really look at that white. It's like it might be because it's overlapping it or something. I don't know. I'll just change to black. There. Oh, but then of course you don't get any shadow. Oh boy. Right. So I'm just going to try some colour like that. There we go. Okay, so that's something. I'm sure somebody can help me and guide me why that's happening. Let's just pull it away. It doesn't matter how far away it is, because it's a directional light. So now there we go. So we've got ourselves a spaceship. This is in really, really good shape. So next thing we should probably do, we've got a choice now. We can either create the cubes or we can work on the movement. So let's work on the movement next. So if we just stop this now, start there, and what we'll do is we'll go to the scripts folder and we'll create a C# script called Spaceship Controller. Spaceship Controller. Get it right now, or you'll be forever refactoring it. Spaceship Controller. There we go. Okay, so we're going there. We'll just double click that, bring that into Trusty Mono Develop. Now I confess I get a bit confused about whether we need to use time.delta time when we do these things. So what I'm going to do, I think to start with, is put that in there. Am I going to put it in there? I'll go for fixed update. Okay, which is the one that gets called a certain number of times frames a second. So we should just go for fixed update for now. Okay, so just rename that. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to have a grab the input axis input axi to say how much horizontal and how much vertical is being applied. And if you don't understand what that means, what we're saying here is Unity has key mappings and potentially joystick mappings or any form of mappings depending on the platform you're running it on to say how much up and down and left and right is being applied. For the keyboard, obviously, it's just on or off, so 1 or 0. So let's just try this now. So say vector 3 move direction equals new vector 3, and it's going to be input dot get axis. There it is. Horizontal. So that's on the x-axis. Okay, so the x-axis is the flat one. Yeah, so left and right, if you like, and then the y-axis is up and down. So let's do that. Input dot get axis. Or get down, get axis. Vertical. And we're not doing brackets, and we're not doing anything on the Z right now. Z would be forward and backwards, and maybe we'll work on that shortly. But for now, we're not going to do anything. Semicolon. Is that all we need? Yep. And then I think what we need to do now is say transform dot position. Plus equals move direction. I might even say move direction times time.delta time. I'm never sure. Okay, let's try that. But no, I'm going to remove that for now, and we'll have a speed option up here. Public float speed equals 1f. Okay, and so that should work now. If we just control save that and then pop back into Unity, here we are. And we should just drag that into the Spaceship Fighter. And now if we press play, Hopefully up and there we go. All right, it was very fast. You see that's going left and right. Whoa, okay, so you can see, in fact, I don't even know where it is anymore. There it is. Okay, the good news is it is working. Left and right and up and down are working. So there we go. The shadow's working fine, but obviously that's way too quick. So let's just try move direction times time.delta time. Let's try that. Okay, that's a lot slower, but at least we've got something more sensible now, and I think that means that we've got ourselves a working solution in terms of spacing it out. But let's just do 2f on the speed. Let's just try that. But we do have another problem. That's going to be that we can easily go off through the wall. 2's not enough either, is it? Oh, hang on, did I even do speed? I don't think I did. Times speed. We can do it two ways actually. We can put it there, or we can put it up here. Let's do the speed there. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I'm just going to do it there now. Times speed. Bear in mind these values here, the vertical and the horizontal are values between 0 and 1. You see, all right. So that gives us a direction, a vector direction between 0 and 1. That doesn't look any quicker, does it? I know why. It's because if I go over here, I bet you it's still set to 1. This is that pesky inspector thing. In fact, let's just do this. Just click on there and just do reset. Reset, sorry, top option. There we go. Now it'll set it to whatever is in this file, which is 2. Alright, let's try that now. Okay, that's a bit quicker. Maybe a touch too slow, but we can adjust that later on. But the good news is it's moving around. The bad news is, like I say, you can go out of the screen and you can go below it. So let's clamp that. If we go back here, and what we'll do is we'll now say something like vector 3 proposed position equals that. Okay, Control C like that. Yep. No, it's going to be transform dot position plus move direction times time.delta time, like that. Okay, so it's going to say transform plus that. So that's our proposed position, but it might be wrong. So what we'll do here is we'll say equals new vector 3, and we're going to say mathf dot clamp, and it's going to be proposed position dot x. So that's where that's the field we're going to be clamping, and we need to say a minimum and a maximum. I did a little work on this earlier on. I think I worked out that something like minus 1.8 to 1.8. So we're saying the x can go between minus 1.8 and minus 1.8 and 1.8. And then again for the y, so it's the same rules apply. Mathf dot clamp brackets proposed position dot y, and I'm thinking that's probably somewhere between 0 and, well, it's going to be a little bit above 0, otherwise it'll be flat on the floor. So let's try 0.2, and it goes up to 4, doesn't it, because it's 4 high. So let's try something like 3.8 f. Brackets, comma, and then proposed position dot z, because we're not doing anything with that right now, are we? Dot z, brackets, semicolon. Okay, now I think we need to put f's on these as well, because they've got decimal points on them. Any errors? Nothing yet. Okay, so what we're saying here is we've got a move direction that gives us a direction vector. We're saying, right, well, this is where we think it should be. And then we're saying, well, hang on a minute, let's just clamp it into certain positions so that it doesn't roll off the screen. Okay, that's going to see if that works. Control S, and we're still recording. Yes, I am. Okay, let's go back to Unity. Not Unity, there we go. Okay. Good. And if we go down now, okay, it's a little low, I think, and that's just gone a little bit off the sides, hasn't it? And I think we need to speed it up as well. So let's do that. So let's set U to 3, shall we? I might just go and change the file as well. I know that's not probably the best way of doing it, but we're just going to do that anyway. Let's do 3F there, and I think we say minus 1.7, shall we, on the x-axis, and on the y, make it a little bit higher. Let's have a look now. Here we go. Here we go, moment of truth. Close enough there. That's just nudged off the edge. You can see on the shadow on the bottom, look. And just on the right. Oh, you swine. Okay, I was going to say that was it, but I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm going to say minus 1.6 then. 1.6. And I still think you're a bit high, so we'll do 0.4 and let's say 3.7, shall we? 3.6. Do 3.6. No, 3.7. I don't know. Playing around with this too long. Too long to play around with this. We should just be getting on with it. Okay. Yes, I like that. That's close enough. And that's too close, but I've given up caring. Okay, so we can move that around with up, down, left and right. Lovely. What's it saying here? Game object sci-fi fighter. The reference script on this behaviour. Okay, let's have a quick look. I think I deleted one earlier on when you weren't watching. Is that one? There. Okay, now if I do it. There, that's gone. Okay. Alright. So with that done, we can now focus on creating some form of sort of randomised cubes that are appearing on this map here. So let's do that now. If we just close that down and let's create ourselves a cube. A cube. It's probably, let's just press F. Oh no. Just grab it outside and of course reset its position. And then press F so we zoom in on it. Right, let's give it a texture, shall we? Where's our texture materials even? So let's have a new one called create. We probably should have a few of these, shouldn't we? Now we'll call it cube 1. Should we cube 1? And then on cube 1, let's just lock this. Not there, lock this. There we go. And if we go to our textures, no, it's free sci-fi textures. Can I zoom in a bit more? Make it. There we. Yeah, it's just something like that. Let's go full way, shall we? There we go. Bang. What do you think? Just pick one just at random. I'm just being silly and taking my time for too long. I don't want to go with those lined ones, although I do like them. Let's go with that one. And then what we can do, go back to our textures, go back to our materials and cube 1 and just drag that into cube there. You know, it's good enough for starters. I'm just going to unlock that as well. So what I'm going to do is let's just get it on. Let's just get the scales right. So let's do that now. Let's just bring this out. Okay. Well, we're off to a good start in terms of we can see the size. So if we just pick, let's move you along a bit, shall we? Over there, so we can get a rough idea of. You don't keep disappearing. We need it to be the same size as this. In fact, I might even pay to pause this. There. And just move it into position so we can get a rough idea. Well, it should be 1 by 1 by 1. We don't want it to take up the full size, although I think this is going to be too hard. So let's make it something like 0.8 by 0.8 by 0.8. And then obviously just drag that up a bit just for purpose of seeing what it's like. And you can see it's got a cube there. Let's pull it over there somewhere. Let's just watch it while it flies. See if there's any weirdness. That's all good. Obviously at the minute we want them coming towards us, not staying still. So what I wanted to do was attach a cube to it, or a number of cubes to it, as each one gets created. So let's try this now. I think there's going to be a problem with this, but we can work on it. Let's let's pop that into prefabs and then delete it there. And what we'll say is on our scripts, over to scripts here, and we'll go to section movement, we'll have a new one saying obstacle object or something up here. So public game object obstacle object. Now I'm going to do this. I'm going to create a new vector here, vector 3. We'll call this instantiate position or something. Instantiate pos equals new vector 3 and then we can just copy this lot here. So do a bracket. I did not. So there we go. Okay, and now down here we'll say instantiate pos instead. And now is it going to be kind to me? I'm going to try straight off the bat. I'm going to say cube vector 3 cube pos equals instantiate pos plus new vector 3. I'm just sort of making this up a bit now. I'm just going so it's just the y I want to do it on 0, 2, 0 bracket semicolon. Is that going to be kind? It seems happy for me to do that, which I thought it would do. And now we'll say we don't do actually. We'll say game object new cube. This is just kind of just testing it out at the minute. Equals instantiate obstacle object. Let's call it obstacle object, shall we as well? Shall we? Obstacle pos, because we know what we're doing cubes. Game object new obstacle equals instantiate obstacle object. Got obstacles becoming one of those words we say too often now. Obstacle object, comma, don't do that. Obstacle pos, and then I don't think it matters actually because it's a cube right now. So let's do quaternion dot identity as game object. Yeah. I'm not sure this is going to work quite as I'd hoped. And then what I'm going to say is sections I dot add component. No. Dot create. 1 second. Okay, so I think I know what it is. It is new obstacle dot transform dot parent equals sections I. Okay, so what we're trying to do here is we're saying create a new cube. We're going to have to drag that in a minute. Position it at 0, add 0, 2, 0 to it, and then instantiate the object and add it as a parent so it'll move with it. Let's see if this works. Okay, we're going to need to do one thing. Is it even going to compile? No. What's wrong with that? Okay, what's it saying? Oh yeah, let's just try. Yeah, hang on. New obstacle dot. That hasn't got parent. So how do you? Hang on, 1 second. Let's try this. New obstacle transform dot parent equals sections I dot transform. There. Let's try that. Happy now? Oh, go away. Cannot implicitly. What? Is that an error or is that a? Let's just give it a run. Yeah, you're right. I never copied it in, did I? I never copied the prefab in. So let's grab our game manager here, and there's no obstacle objects. Let's put that cube in. Now let's try it. And there we go, guys. It's letting me go through because we haven't set up any colliders yet, or at least any triggers. We go through it. Look, there we go. Okay, and this is not very random either, but it has worked. Okay, so let's just try this then. Let's just try this. Let's get a random thingy going. So let me get the random thing going. So we're going to say so int, yeah, int. It is int. Yeah, I think it's going to be int. Int random x equals random dot range, and then it's going to be 0, comma. What is it? So that's not inclusive. Okay, it is inclusive, min inclusive and max inclusive. Okay, so 0, 4, and then we'll do the same for random y. Okay, and then here we're going to. This is going to work. This is going to work, people. Random x. Hang on, need to do this every time as well. It's going to be the same place. Control X. Yeah, let's do that there. And then random y. Crikey. Crikey, is this going to work? Let's find out. Alright, so far so we might just set the seed on this, but look at this. Okay, so it's, yeah, you can see it's slightly gone wrong here because it's positioned it. Whoa, where's that one come from? Hang on, what's the scene here? Zoom out a bit. So you've got a value of 333. You're alright that way. So what's that then? Oh, did we scale this down? No, we did not. Hang on, let's just grab you again and pause it. So what are you then? The floor has got a 0, 0, 0. And it's a 6 by 4. So why are you right over there? It's probably, I think the problem might be that we need to do something like this. So yeah, where's the game object? So we're gonna say not obstacle pos. We're gonna say instantiate pos. Okay, and then yeah, and then down here instantiate pos. That's it. And then we'll hear what this might not work. Let's just see. That doesn't look right. Yeah, that's okay, right? And then we say new obstacle dot transform dot position plus equals. This might not work. New vector 3. Oh, I love all this. Vector 3. Random x, comma random y, comma 0. I'll get rid of you. Right, how are we looking? So what we're saying, but the reason it's going to be something to do with local offsets. That's where I'm going with this. That's why I think this might not work. So let's give that a try now. No. So what's your position then? You're 3, 3, and 12. 12's fine. Where is it? Yeah, you need to be between. Oh no, it was minus 1.5, wasn't it? Of course. So it's minus 1.5 and 5. Oh, I think we divided by 2. That's all we need to do. I think. That's what we're going to do. Random x over 2. Let's just try that a second. Let's just try that. That might not work. Oh, it certainly seems to have done. Okay, we need to do some work on the. Yeah, you're not exactly. Well, it's close enough. Interestingly, I thought these guys were going to be. They don't seem to be parented. I did parent it, didn't I? Did I remove the parent? I did, you know. New obstacle dot transform dot parent equals sections I dot transform. Oops, that was me thinking I was cooking something up. Right, okay, and I did. That's better. Right, okay. And we've got ourselves some form of dodging game here. So far, so easy. We're not going to make it very difficult just yet. There we go, and go through it. Right, okay, so now what I want to do is I want to create a box collider for my spaceships. Let's pop over here and press F, bring it up. Have we got a box collider? No, so let's add one. Add component, box collider. We're going to do the. It's done a pretty good job, hasn't it? That's fine. Okay, so now that's in there. What's going to happen when it hits one of them? It still goes straight through. So we need to add a rigid body to either the spaceship or the cube, and I'm thinking we do it on the spaceship just because we can. Don't really need an animator. Can we remove that? Let's just disable it for now. We'll add a component, a rigid body, and we don't want to use gravity. I think that will work out of the box now. Okay. Yes, it's not letting me go into that. I think. Oh, look at that! Something's going on. Let's just get it up into shape here. I'll have to look and see why that's happening in a minute. Okay, look at that. That's so cool. But it's not what the effect we're after at all. I was not expecting that to happen. It's probably happened because it's hit something. Let's just run that again. Yeah, so it's not happening until we hit something, which is fine for now. Did I go under that? I think I might have done. There you go. It should be positioned. That should hit that. Ah, now it's hitting it. Now it's not knocking into them. Well, it's knocking into that one. I don't understand. Oh, see, I've been knocked backwards. Oh dear, what's going on? 1 second. Let's have a little look. Do these boxes have? See, that's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to try this anyway for now. What we'll do is we will add an we'll set this as a trigger. I think that's right, and we'll just add a script on the scripts here on the Spaceship controller. We'll just say on trigger enter void on trigger enter, which is a standard method, brackets collider. We'll just put debug.log, shall we? Debug.log. Hit something. Okay, so let's try that now. Did I click that? Come on. Now, why did that let me through? That upsets me. That let me through. So what I might need to do is add. I'm just going to try something here. I'm under the prefabs, under my cube. I'm also going to add a box collider. No, rigid body. Again, no gravity. Let's try that. Oh look at that. Okay, so I think that is kinematic. We need to tick that on. That'll solve that problem, I think. No, it doesn't fix that problem though, does it? Let's quickly go to console, hit something. Let's try again. Let's go down here. Now once I've hit something, it's stopped. Okay, so for now, I'm going to stop this video. I think I'm going to spend some time on this, and I'll come back in the second part. In the second part, what we're going to do is we're going to make this a little bit more fancy. We're going to add a score to it. We're going to add some different styles of blocks and different, if you like, patterns that are going to come through that people are sort of waves, if you like, that people are going to have to navigate. So I hope this has been useful. I hope you made some lessons. Apologies for some of the issues that I've faced. I didn't face these the first time around, and I'm not sure why that's why this isn't behaving itself. So let me take a look at that, and I will get back to you for the next vid. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers now. Bye bye.